All right, let's cut to the chase. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Honestly, I appreciate all of the feedback and all of the support so far. It's been a great few weeks. Right now, we're almost at 50 subscribers, so I'm extremely chuffed about that. So thank you very much. And hopefully, by the time this video drops, we would have surpassed 50, and then we're on our way to our next target being 100 subscribers. So thank you very much again. And for everyone who I've had the opportunity to speak with, and they're letting me know how great they think I'm doing with the content and stuff. Drop a comment below, man. Drop the comment below and let people know what's going on. Like right now, if you're looking to develop your personal brand as well as looking to improve on your personal development and looking to really make an impact in your life and your career or your business, come on, man. Subscribe and get involved, and please, like, let's do something great with this. But let me focus on the video at hand. The job market. The job market right now is super cooked. It is very crazy. Right now on the news, all we're seeing mainly is like mass redundancies. People are losing their jobs left, right, and center. And it's a dark place right now. It's very dark. And to make matters worse, those who were made redundant or have are looking for jobs, they're just being lowballed with crazy salaries, like low salaries, and they're having to take it because they have no other choice. They need to like provide for their family, and it's a very weird space we're in and a very weird time. But I wanted to do this video more so for the job seekers and the job seekers at different, I suppose, levels in their career. In this video, I'm going to focus on mainly the early career professionals slash graduates, and also more of the senior staff, like those who have been in industries 10 years, 20 years plus, those particular sort of people as well. Because I find that the element of job seeking right now, I think there's so many areas that kind of overlap in terms of the same things that you need to kind of include and incorporate into your job search. But there's also going to be some intricacies of elements that will be more beneficial depending on the actual audience as well. So in this video, I'm going to make sure that I include all the relevant chapters and the sections broken down so you will know which part is dedicated to you. So I really hope it works, and I really hope that it adds value to what you're doing and what you're pursuing as well. But mainly, I would say that the thing that's kind of irking me right now, if I'm being honest, is, and it's of no fault to the person because they're not to know, but a lot of the things I've been seeing recently, especially with some of the redundancies made, will be someone who like they'll lose their job and then they will end up on LinkedIn looking for work or asking for particular opportunities. But sadly, if you kind of go through their profile, you just wouldn't see anything that just showcases who they are, like the work they do, why they enjoy the work that they do, any thought leadership. There's not anything that really provides more clarity to who the person is to make them suitable for any particular opportunities moving forward. So I would highly advise, before I even get started on the full video, don't be a ghost online, man. Don't be a lurker, because what I found is that there's so many people who have allowed themselves to use personal branding as an insurance policy for when opportunities like this happen and they lose their job, and they're able to find work relatively quick because they've kind of built the foundations of what it means to have a personal brand where they've showcased who they are, who they serve, why it matters to them, why they're passionate about the work they do, and they have aligned themselves in an opportunity where they have naturally gravitated towards people who can actually help them at the time. And I'm seeing this far too often. You'll see people that will go on LinkedIn after losing a job role and they haven't updated their LinkedIn in years. They haven't posted anything. And you just can't expect people to be jumping to see your post and all of a sudden they're going to be very much on job to help you find a particular new role or a new opportunity. And that's the first thing I would advise before anything. Like, please, even if you are in employment currently and you're still like navigating and you're doing well in your own right, you need to start building out the content. You need to start positioning yourself as a thought leader someone that has something worth saying and why you're a asset for any particular opportunity that's coming your way. Do not wait until there's a place of redundancy or you lose your job for you to only start thinking about now you need to start producing content or now you need to start allowing people to perceive you in a particular way. So let's just get straight into it. Let me just share my screen real quick. I did see an interesting article. So this is in the Guardian. It says UK graduates and healthcare workers worst hit as job market cools. I don't personally believe that's cooling. I think it's particularly getting worse, to be fair, just from hearing all of the stories. But let's continue. So it says recruitment report identifies sharp rise in vacancies for warehouse staff and cleaners, but large fall in graduate opportunities. Okay. So graduates fresh from university will find it difficult to find a job after a 35% drop in hiring by employers over the last year, according to analysis by a leading recruitment data provider. So for me, that's particularly interesting because with the mention of an increase in warehouse staff and cleaners, for example, those jobs are not going to be hiring some of these graduates anyway, because chances are they're going to say they're overqualified and they just don't suit the bill. And right now, it will be a case where a lot of the graduates will be between a rock and a hard place. They want to work, these jobs are not considering them as qualified or overqualified, so they can't get the job. And the roles that they actually want to pursue, they're just not getting any feedback. They're getting pretty much ghosted by employers or recruiters, and it's just a very weird and difficult space. But the reason why I would say, before I even get into the video, why I believe I am qualified to talk about this is because I navigated, life looking for work as everyone else. But what I found is kind of understanding the importance of how you're perceived and how you carry yourself both offline as well as online. And I realized that digital presence is a very important element of a lot of things, but I will cover that in the topics in a moment. But another reason as well, if I share my screen, is because in 2020, for those who may or may not know, I wrote an ebook. I wrote an ebook called When the Dust Settles: How to Get a Job in PR After the Pandemic. And I wrote this because I was in a position where I managed to keep my job during the pandemic, where there were many redundancies within different divisions in the company that I worked at, and even my team. There was a lot of my friends that I worked with who were made redundant, and in that time, it was a very weird situation. And what kind of intrigued me is, why was I the one who happened to be selected to stay? What was it that made me stand out as someone that they felt that was worth keeping, I would say, in regards to that? So I wrote an ebook about it during that time, and I wanted to use it as a way to help other graduates or upcoming graduates to utilize the skills that I developed over time to stand out and to improve their prospects by positioning themselves as the obvious choice. You know what I mean? That's what I'm about. And through doing that, I wrote the ebook. It done really well, funny enough, and a lot of people gravitated towards it. And I didn't sell it. I didn't sell it. I wasn't looking for the money. I was looking to really make a stance and to really help those who are in. I was once in a similar position too. I was once in a similar position where it was ridiculously hard to get a job. But with this, I've done a fundraiser and I raised money towards the Black Minds Matter charity, £311 92 towards the charity that I raised. So that was a really amazing moment for me, just to kind of showcase my skills. But as I mentioned in my previous video with imposter syndrome, I managed to put all this together. But at the same time, I'm thinking, am I qualified to even talk about it? But now, as we grow, we get older, I can comfortably and confidently say I am more than qualified to talk about this, so I will talk about it. So let's get into it. As I mentioned, I'm going to be splitting out the chapters, so you'll see the content based on what you want to hear as well. This might be a lengthy one, but let's get into it. The elements that I feel are both universal for both a early career slash graduate compared to more of a senior sort of job seeker the five things I would say mainly. Number one, you need to improve your digital presence. I mentioned it previously, but you need to improve your digital presence and you need to be seen and you need to be heard. I know for a lot of us, we would have heard prior when we were younger to be seen but not heard. Flip the script. Right now, you need to be seen and you need to be heard for all the opportunities that you need to be receiving and having coming your way. Because weirdly, I found that it is pretty much just as bad as you not having anything to go by when someone searches your name, compared to if someone searches your name and they see something very much irresponsible or something that doesn't really align with the values of the company or those sort of things. It sounds very weird, but that's why the point I'm making is that you need to ensure that your digital presence is something that when people Google your name and they're looking for you, then they have content that they can actually utilize and use to have a better understanding of who you are. And then you can use that as a way to perceive yourself in the best way possible for any of these particular job opportunities. So if I share my screen real quick, I'll show an example. I'm gonna go and search my name. So, and forgive me if you see me looking left, right, everywhere because I got a screen there, I got a screen there, and a screen there. So sometimes I may be, looking everywhere, but I assure you, I'm not like hearing anything, but hearing voices in my head or something. But anyway, hey, can't even type. Anyway, Tariq Peters. There we go. So what you can see here, if I'm applying for a role or I'm looking for a job, right, and I am putting my name out there, application, whatever, what have you, the recruiter or the employer in question is always going to search your name. It doesn't matter. They're 110% going to search your name because they want to know what can we find out about this person just from Googling their name. So as you can see a few pictures of me previously, recent pictures, a couple pictures of like the YouTube thumbnails. And if we scroll down, you can see my website straight away. You can see my social media channels, my LinkedIn. There's a short section I need to improve on for real, for real. Yeah, so literally this is a page, but the point I'm trying to make is that this is a page that is dedicated towards me and me only. There's nothing else to sway anyone from not knowing that this is the person that is applying for the role, or this is the person that is saying they have these credentials or they have these accolades and this is the reason why they want to apply for this role. So I would say you need to really learn to improve on your digital presence. And there's different ways you can go about it. In my previous video, when I spoke about the peso model, you can either start creating more content and putting it on social media. You can develop and make your own website where you can start to utilize and use that as a portfolio. There's so many different things you can do as well. And I think if you want to have a better understanding of what you can do to improve your digital presence, I would recommend to definitely check out that video on the peso model. But this is more of a quick overview. Secondly, you need to network with intention. And I know and I completely understand that at a time of desperation, you're not thinking, and you're thinking, I just need a job. Like everything else doesn't matter right now. But I assure you, the element of networking and networking intentionally is going to be far more beneficial because you are really aligning yourself with various different people in the journey that can help you and that can definitely vouch for you or put you in the right places or to speak your name into the with the right people. And that element, you don't want to be in a position where you're thinking you're doing everything yourself and you don't have anyone there to support you because, as mentioned, when you're logging into LinkedIn after not being on there for God knows how many years, asking for people to look for a job or for work, we have to understand that it doesn't matter what's happening. We're always going to be having to align ourselves with different people in order to get different opportunities. So it does not make any sense to start cutting out the opportunities to start meeting people and start conversing with people in order to get those opportunities. And you may not necessarily even need to do online, in-person events all the time. Sometimes you can do stuff online and you can kind of utilize it in that way. So I would definitely recommend and highly advocate for doing that. I would say number three, need to start creating content. I'm sorry, you need to start creating content. And funny enough, anyone who I speak with and they're telling me about the situations they're in, or they want more opportunities for themselves, or they're looking for a new job, or any of those particular things, for me, it all comes down to you need to make content. And whenever I say that, they always look at me like I'm crazy. They're thinking, why? I can't do that. Like, funny enough, I was speaking with a good friend as well who's looking for work. I said you need to start creating content. You can't be a lurker on LinkedIn anymore or ghost, because no one is going to know why you are the obvious choice. No one particularly cares about anything because you haven't shown them anything to particularly care about. And they said to me that their pride won't let them. And I thought that was quite interesting, because what I want you guys to understand is that yes, pride can be useful in various different areas of our lives, but I'm here to tell you that pride will leave you broke. And trust me, I know this far too well. Pride will leave you broke. And are you that prideful where you don't have any money, where the opportunity that can present itself for you to improve your visibility and to improve your reach in order to connect with the right people, will the lack of money and the heightened level of pride stop you from making these opportunities that can potentially change your life or your trajectory in terms of what you're looking to do? Start creating content. Do not sleep on creating the content that can change your life. I started creating content not even on the basis of, obviously I would love to put the content out to change my life for the betterment of what I'm trying to do, but I started creating the content more so because it was more from an element of wanting to improve and to build on my confidence personally. Everything else that follows, I think, is a blessing, but that was my main objective. I wouldn't say to do the content if you're looking for fast money or anything. It's more about the compounding effects. But I assure you, you pushing out content is going to help you stand out a lot more than your peers or your competitors or people who are trying to get the same roles as you, because that helps in order for you to start being able to build your digital presence, and then people can actually see that not only are you someone that is particularly interesting, but you're actually very knowledgeable. You actually have a lot to say on your chosen topic that you say that you love or you enjoy or you're passionate about. So utilize it. Start creating content. You need to promote yourself more. That's number four in terms of that universal element of things you need to do. You need to promote yourself more. And you know, we're Brits, we're very much humble. We're told to be very much humble, you know, not to be screaming out our wins and everything like that. But that can also leave us in a very vulnerable position as well, because no one knows what we're doing or what opportunities we've been able to carve out for ourselves. And if no one knows, then no one is going to look and think, oh, this person is the right person for this opportunity or the right person for this job. And you need to learn to promote yourself more. And number five, that aligns with that, in ways how you promote yourself more, you need to be comfortable in order to learn how to tell your own story. You need to be comfortable to understand your story from A to B, and you need to be able to understand that story like the back of your hand. You need to be able to speak with everyone, and those people who want to understand your story, you can showcase and share that with them, because you know what particular area aligns with that particular person, and it's through that that will get them very much interested in your journey, your story, and they'll ultimately want to help you. So those are the five bits before I get into the other sections. But mainly, this is what we're going to do. Job seekers, for early career graduates, young professionals, all that sort of stuff. We're going to speak about that briefly. I'm going to look directly in the camera. Pride and ego, leave it out. It's not worth it. It's not necessary. And you're not going to make any leeway into a particular job opportunity. You need to start thinking outside the box and using the skills that you have to develop it and open your eyes to opportunities as well. The top three tips I will give to the graduates, early career professionals, young professionals is: number one, virtual coffees. Start doing virtual coffees. I want to say start doing them as you should be starting to make content. You should start. You should be starting to build with a new audience of people that you're learning from, that you're speaking with directly, and you're communicating with. Based on your industry, you need to have a list of people who you admire and people that are shifting the needle in your industry. You need to develop a list of those particular people, and you need to reach out to every single one of them and ask them if they can spare 20 minutes to have a virtual coffee to hear more about the industry from their perspective, because you are very much interested and very much hungry to enter the industry that they're in, and you're looking to develop the skills that you need to navigate into the industry. I would say 80% of the time, 80% of the time, the person in question that you reach out to, if they're not extremely busy, they'll say yes. If they don't do it because of whatever reason, that's on them. Every loss is a lesson. Take it as a lesson, navigate it to the next person. But if you start to develop a list of people who you want to get in contact with for opportunities, and you actually reach out to them and ask them for their support for 20 minutes of their time, more often than not, they'll give you the time of day, and then they will speak with you. And it's for you to learn from that, build those relationships from those virtual coffees, and go in there and impress. Go in there and let people know what you have done. Do not be asking or requesting these virtual coffees if you do not have the element of showcasing yourself in a way that will attract and make people interested in you. If anything, start building in terms of what your content is. Start putting out content on a weekly basis on LinkedIn. And then from there, start building that list and get in touch with people directly. Secondly, create a portfolio that grows with you. When I was in university and I started writing my music blog, that was effectively my portfolio that grew with me. As I got older, I started growing, I started developing it, I started understanding different skills that applied to the industry I wanted to go into. I started understanding more about search engine optimization and how you can get higher search results on Google. I started understanding how to use content management systems like WordPress and how to be able to utilize that. I started having an in depth insight into newsletters, social media marketing. All of that was developed based on me just building based on a hobby that I enjoyed. And I used that as a way to showcase my skills, which then led for me to get my first opportunity to get into PR, right? That is what you want to do. And lastly, in terms of number three for this section, be audacious. You guys are really in a position where you can be audacious. The audacity, you get me? You need to be audacious with the way that you approach everything. You're meant to be young and bold and brave with your pursuit of wanting to do the things that scare you, or the things that you feel that you're deserving of. And to be fair, I do see that a lot of the times with, the younger generation. But with the audacity and you being audacious, you need to also be able to back up your argument as well. As well as you being audacious, have everything in place to suggest that you are the obvious choice. Like I say, have your website ready, have your content that you're producing, have your YouTube that you're starting to put out weekly content. Start having something that you know that you can always showcase to someone as this is the work you're doing based on my passion points within the industry that I want to get into so badly, and use that as a way to combine the level of audacity that you have with the evidence that suggests that you are the obvious choice, right? Utilize those tips alongside the stuff that I said previously, and you will be in no issues in the next coming weeks and months when you're looking for employment, right? All right, let's get into the older generation now, the more senior leaders, the senior team. You guys, you need to be creating content as well. And the reason why it is even more imperative for you to be creating content is because you have the experience. You have decades of experience in your industry, but yet no one has a single clue about your thought process when it comes down to anything that involves your industry. As a senior leader or a senior within your company or your team, you need to then now be perceived and considered as a thought leader. You want to be the one that not only the junior team go to for advice, but also your peers will come for you, knowing that you have all the skills to say otherwise, and you haven't been put in a position where you haven't not showcased it. You understand what I mean? You need to showcase it. You have all the experience. You have all the experience in the world. Document it in a way that makes the most sense for you, and use it to let people know that you are also being adaptable. And that's what I would say with number two. Be adaptable with the way the times are going. Have an understanding of how AI is having an impact in your industry. A lot of people, they have the assumption that with how fast the technology is going and the rise of AI, that the older generation aren't necessarily picking it up as quick as the younger generation. That being said, you don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything about AI and everything about technology. All I advise is that you learn about how AI is having an impact within your particular industry and then your particular remit. Once you have an understanding of that and you're able to showcase and document your level of understanding of that, then you have allowed yourself to future proof your prospects, as I mentioned in previous videos, because with the way that everything is moving, everyone wants a hybrid approach now. They want someone that is very much knowledgeable of AI, but they're still grounded with the foundational knowledge of the industry. Once you have an understanding of both, then you will know how to navigate. And if you document that in a way through producing that content, then you have stuff that can be utilized that will build up on your digital presence, and people will find you regardless. And number three, I would say become more relatable. I would say a lot of senior teams or senior people in those jobs, they kind of lose that level of relatability because they're just so focused on, work life and all that sort of stuff as well. But I would say, as much as anything, you are human. There's things that you enjoy doing just as much as everyone else. Use the interest and the hobbies that you have outside of work, and put that into the forefront of the things that you enjoy and love doing. Build a community of people that may not necessarily be in the same industry as you, but then they are actually interested in the same things as you. And through you doing that and building that level of relatability throughout that, you then have now positioned yourself as not only as a thought leader in your industry, but also you're involved with different people that are interested in the things that you're interested in. And through doing that and becoming more relatable, more people are going to advocate for you. More people are going to vouch for you when it comes down to being involved in the things necessary for you to be able to find employment and to find work as well. So that is really what I wanted to showcase, and it's a lengthy video as mentioned, but I'm going to be adding the chapters in because I think it's important. And for those who just listen throughout, I really appreciate it, because no matter what, even though it's separated as chapters, there's definitely gems that you can incorporate through the whole video as well. But honestly, I completely understand how crazy the job market is now. I definitely empathize with a lot of people, but until you start to utilize and develop your personal brand and you realize that the element of building your digital presence as well as your personal brand online is just as important and should be embedded in the actual job search, then you need to really reconsider your approach, because just applying for all these jobs and just sending your CV and cover letter is no longer going to cut it. You need to build your digital presence and you need to be visible. You need to be seen and you need to be heard, like I said. So, with that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything in the video that resonated with you. And honestly, I wish you all the best. And if by all means this video has helped you or will help you get a job or get an opportunity, drop a comment and let me know. And I'll really appreciate just knowing that the work that I'm doing and the video content I'm putting out is really just helping to change lives one day at a time. You know what I mean? But on that note, peace out, man. Look after yourselves.